Sideline of ball. Lakewood's doing it. They're gonna take. He's gonna bring down Burning. Alone with a double deal. Dropping fast. Bonavoy's there. He's still alive. Wait, check his line. He's going one time. He's going a second. He's taking it. Oh my God! On three. They're all dead.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Summit 2 by G2A.com America Division. We are in day number 7, and we are on the 4th game of the day, 4th best of 1, and it's going to be a matchup between Turn My Swag On going against the Gerg squad, also known as Ham Ham Clubhouse, to kind of round things out and take it home. I'm joined once again from my good friend, Mr. Mott Bueno. My friend, are you there? Can you hear me right now?
I can. I'm here. I'm ready. Turn My Swag On versus
You look
Gerg
ready.
Squad. It's it's time to have some all-American Dota action going on here between these two squads. We recently got Not Today versus Navios. That was a great game, but it's always nice to see the Gerg squad back in action here as they're taking on Turn My Swag On. So
I'm excited here to see the Gerg be unleashed. They managed to pull in a win, it looked like, as we do hop into the draft, of course. And they are currently residing at about a 1-1 record. So still have a lot of games to play. Expect them to have some triple, maybe even quadruple headers coming up in the days to come. And going against Swag, who are currently sporting a 2-1 record. So also have a lot of games to play out, but have a promising start here. And, of course, we all very much know Mr. F4L here, as he now has taken off his casting suit and put on his boxing gloves to kind of get down and dirty, with the Swag squad as being their support player. But also the team has overall not had to bring out a whole lot of stand-ins. So it's nice to see that some of these, I guess you could say more youthful teams have a pretty stable roster through the run-through. Can't really say the same, though, for Gerg squad. Unfortunately, they've been kind of a hodgepodge group of players ever since their ESL 1 qualifier moments, where there was potential for them to make it all the way into New York City, but they just came up short. Right now, they're sporting a roster. They have Reality now that's been brought in, and KRS, who I've also seen from time to time. Justin also, who had made a brief appearance with eHug alongside with Pandago in there. So these players are used to playing together, but not the same cohesiveness as you see out of a lot of these other teams.
yeah, I mean, that's just the general gist of American Dota. It's just like, hey, we're gonna throw together this lineup that's gonna last maybe a week, and then we'll just go from there, because these guys are either too lazy or there's too many, pieces of drama, divas, or whatever happens to your team. It happens very often in American Dota, and it's unfortunate, but that's just how it goes. There's very few teams that stay together for a long period of time. So, right now, though, I mean, Gerg squad, and I think Turn My Swag On as well, at the very least, for the past at least couple of weeks, maybe a couple of days, they've stayed together, so that's a good sign. I mean, I know you really you're drawing straws when you're saying that, but at the same time, at least we have the same lineups from day to day. So Gerg squad, they'll pick up the Death Prophet, they'll pick up the Faceless Void, two heroes that really combo well together. Scarith Mage and Centaur Warman are pretty solid. They kind of picked Scarith and Centaur, maybe imagining there would be a Brewmaster pickup, but it's banned first, so no such luck there. And we'll see how things go here as we get into the next picking phase.
Yeah, this is pretty standard, pretty much taking from that top Platinum priority pool of what's still there and available. After it looks like Swag do the Respect Naga ban there. We saw Reality do a tremendous performance with her, so got to make sure we get rid of that one. And then they also don't want to have too much of that strong presence in the mid lane with Razor, but they don't opt to ban out Death Prophet, which is quickly snagged up by Gerg squad, who had banned out the Brew as a contending mid laner. We have actually not seen a Brew today, so no Brew as far as the American Dota is concerned for today. They also get rid of the primary offlane Bat Rider, which leaves Centaur for Turn My Swag On. Morphling and also the Ogre is going to get that ban. We've been seeing Ogre like almost any and every game at this point, but now it's going to be taken out. And going into the third set of picks here is for each team, rather. It's going to be Turn My Swag On grabbing a hold of the IO, or the Wisp, or the EO, or the Beat Boop, for God's sakes. And Gerg squad, they get Jakiro, and when you put Jakiro together with Faceless Void, that Chronosphere makes a beautiful platform for some sweet toasty action with that Macropyre, that's for sure.
You've turned into a robot, my friend. I'm not sure what happened, but it looks like
10
Mumble's hating you
seconds
right now,
remaining.
unfortunately.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I still coming in pretty weird? I mean, you sound great
5
to me.
seconds remaining.
You sound like you are beep booping yourself, my friend.
All right,
I can
I
barely
can go for
hear
a
you.
reconnect. How about
Reserve
that?
time.
All right, that sounds good.
All right, let me just go ahead and say adios to you real quick here. All right, how do I mumble? Hold on. All right.
Server connection failed.
Oh,
The remote host closed the
That-
connection.
thank you, Mumble. Yeah, see that might be the reason why. Apparently, my connection to Mumble is now also becoming quite assy. Skype was also it's a bit of the same thing, unfortunately. Here, let's see if I can get back in. Yep. Okay.
Disconnected from server.
Oh. No. Okay, that's not working. Come on, buddy. Please.
Dis-
Dire
Disconnected from
team
server.
pick.
Yeah, unfortunately, the mumble doesn't seem to want to work anymore. Maybe instead I can
Connected.
Oh, I'm in. Hello? Can you hear me, Mott?
Radiant team ban.
Mott, please! Hello? I'm already alone in the BTS house. I need someone by my side, please! Nope, I'll do one more try, and then maybe we'll do something else.
Disconnected from server. Connected.
Hello,
10
Mott?
seconds remaining.
Mott? My life? No, unfortunately,
5
maybe I
seconds
should-
Hello.
remaining.
Hello?
Hey
Oh,
there.
hey, hold on. Now I tried to... Oh, Jesus
Uh-oh.
Christ. Can you hear me?
Uh-oh.
Reserve time.
Do I sound bad? Hi. No? All right, I'm going to call on this one instead. How about that? Hello, hi.
All right.
Hi?
Hey.
Hi, how you doing? Can you hear me? Oh, this is just constantly a hot mess, one after the other. Oh, why can't we just have a stable VoIP program for gaming and casters that can just be reliable and not get constantly lagged out, spazzed, DDoSed, harassed, or whatever may be happening and have constant disconnect issues, that's for sure. Mott, my friend, oh well. Well, while we get this sorted out, I don't want to make sure I ignore the draft completely. So just kind of complimenting the Wisp grab, it looks like
Dire
Swag are going to
team
grab a
ban.
hold of the PA. And on the side of Gerg squad, they get a hold of that Earthshaker, which Pandago's been playing quite a bit. So it's going to be the Earthshaker grab side by side with Jakiro. Earthshaker can still contribute a little bit into the Chronosphere from the outside, whether it's a setup from a Fisher
10 seconds
and then follow it
remaining.
with a nice Echo Slam kind of a follow-up right there. And PA
5
typically doesn't do
seconds
too well
remaining.
against a Faceless Void, but if she does have the opportunity to open up, it could be devastating. I mean, we're pretty much
Reserve
seeing almost the
time.
same kind of a style as we did in the Stay Free versus Union Gaming Rumble that they had.
Radiant
So,
team pick.
while I am simultaneously checking over the draft and finding a method to
Connected.
bring Mott back to life here, as he's not in the other client anymore. I'm going to send him a little message to try to get it sorted out, but this is just unfortunate. Anyways, going into the last picks here for Turn My Swag On, it looks like after having supports an offlaner and PA who could be ran as both a
10
safe lane or a
seconds
mid
remaining.
laner, we could see Mott.
Hello?
Hi again.
5
Hello.
seconds
Can you hear me?
remaining.
Hello.
Kai,
God damn it.
can you? No? This is unreal.
Reserve time.
My thing is...
What is the issue here? What's the problem? Can you hear me at least?
what is the deal? Hello.
All right, hello.
Hi.
what
I just
happened?
kind of went into settings and hit OK again, even though I didn't change anything, and
And it worked?
and it worked. I don't know what the hell's happening. Why?
I
know
could
it's
hear
vending
you
like-
fine.
10
I could hear you
seconds
fine on
remaining.
Skype, but I thought you could hear me, so I was
No.
talking to you, and like I was like, "Wait, what?
5
Can you not
seconds
hear me?" And,
remaining.
then I checked my settings, and nothing was wrong. So I don't know what
Dire
happened.
team pick.
All right. Well, we're here now, so hopefully we could just get the best out of this in the meantime while I just mute the rest so nothing else gets too crazy. Here we go. Okay. Anyways, I was talking a bit about the draft. I mean, they've got the PA that
Yes.
now complements the Wisp very nicely. Hell, if they wanted to, they can get a Magnus here to just put in the mid lane, unless they are going to run dual lane mid, which we've seen before already in the hands of Stay Free. They could put the PA and Wisp hand in
10
hand on the mid.
seconds
You can
remaining.
leave Centaur by his lonesome, whether it's going to be in the solo safe position,
5
or they
seconds
can get this
remaining.
potential fifth grab to kind of do their own work.
Yeah, this is. I mean, they've got a lot of work, but
Reserve
here you
time.
talked about it earlier. How this IO Phantom Assassin reminds me of the game between Union and Stay Free. This is Phantom Assassin IO are really good. It really comes down to the relocates against the Faceless Void when it hits up his Chronospheres. If you hit the Chronosphere, then boom, you're good to go. But if the relocate gets off before that and you're able to tether out, then you're good to go. I mean, it really comes down to dealing with this IO first and foremost, I think, for Gerg Squad. And how are they going to do that exactly? I mean, there's multiple ways. You have an Earthshaker, Jakiro, and Vandamancer. You actually can dedicate to the IO. You can even Yule Spectrum with the Death Prophet as well. So there's a lot of options here. I think, for Gerg squad to try to deal with this IO. And that's the one hero I think they need to take out of the fight. He's probably the most important one at that. So
I absolutely, I can agree with that. Most certainly here, as looks like Gerg are just throwing together a pretty nice team fight overall. A lot of magic damage on their side as well, but a Tidehunter
Radiant
is going to be the
team
final
pick.
grab here for Turn My Swag on, so that's going to be the one they kind of play on their own. So you got two big bat beefcakes, true huge initiator team fight potentials there with your Centaur, Horse God, and now the Tidehunter. I mean, of course, for the late game, this puts a lot onto the PA to have a successful run, but it's Relic who quickly grabs it, and we know that Relic, regularly known Arteezy Slayer, is definitely someone who can perform at top-notch potential when needed. But we'll see if they can manage to pull it out here, as they're going to be taking on Gerg squad with also huge magic damage potential. I wouldn't be surprised if a Veil is something that they consider on their side. And you know, Reality, who had been the top-notch Naga performer in the last go-around, is going to be opting for the Death Prophet this time, it looks like.
this is,
10
I mean, Reality
seconds
really impressed me
remaining.
last game. Some itemization that I thought was maybe questionable, but at the same
5
time,
seconds remaining.
I think this is a really good draft for them. What's important to note that this is going to be maybe a dual lane mid for Turn My Swag on, as they have two offlaners theoretically, but I imagine they put the safe lane, you know,
Prepare for
Centaur,
battle.
offlane Tidehunter, dual lane mid with Sleazel on the IO, and then put Relic in the Phantom Assassin. That's exactly what they're going to be doing here, and this is a solid choice. It's pretty good against the Death Prophet. They'll be able to go for crits, or at least once they hit up level 6, PA can be a bit more aggressive. You can be aggressive early on as well. I mean, Death Prophet's kind of flimsy in her own right, so they could grab a kill here, especially with only 2 GG branches and 2 tangos. She's going to try to get to that early bottle, and that'll keep her alive, so...
And we'll see what ends up developing here as we hop into the final game of the day, the final and fourth best of one here in the Summit 2 by G2A.com, the America Division, as these teams quickly trying to bring in more games and raise themselves up to the top, hopefully top 4 position to move on into the playoffs. The winner of that playoffs, the one team that makes it out of the region, will move on into the Summit
30
household for the
seconds to
final
battle.
land. And as things progress, I'll roll out with some introduction here on your Radiant side. It's the Gerg Squad, also known as the Ham Clubhouse. Happy to see them sport the Gerg name once more. It's going to be Pandago playing your Earthshaker support. Right behind, it's MSS playing a more core Venomancer. Mid lane, it's going to be Reality playing the Death Prophet. And along the bottom, that leaves KRS playing your Jakiro side by side with Justin playing your Faceless Void.
On the
The
other side of
battle
things, for Turn My
begins.
Swag on, you've got Sleazel, who'll be playing your IO here, supporting up the Phantom Assassin, who is going to be your mid lane PA, played by Relic. Bottom lane, it's going to be Bloody Nine, who's playing your Tidehunter, by the way, has 12 tangos. Top lane, safe lane, F4L on your Scourth Mage, the caster himself, and I Annihilate playing your Centaur Warminer to round out the lineup.
Yes. And if F4L feeds, please do not hold back in letting him know how you actually feel about it. He is a flames for life kind of a guy, and we just have to abide by his standards and make sure he knows that when he's doing a pathetic job, he's doing a pathetic job. So, I'm all kidding, of course. F4L, a stand-up guy, stand-up player. We'll see if his team is able to bring it home here, or if the Gerg squad will finally be able to find a sense of rhythm after having constant roster shuffle. So, Relic Wisp, dual lane, going to be going against Reality's Death Prophet here. You know, Death Prophet kind of hero that even when she has a struggling time early in the game, can always find a way, it seems, to bounce back if given the opportunity. I mean, once he does get a hold of the race car kind of a build, if it's going to be the phase boots and Yules, has high mobility, and then from that point out, build up the sustain, the meat on the bones, if you will, and that exorcism can really go to town. Now, when Navi US had it in Korok, they just really couldn't get to a point because the match of farm on the other side, especially someone like Smash, who could just rip it home with the sleight of fist, was just too troublesome. But on this game, it's pretty much only the PA as far as the huge damage right click that's coming out. It's more about the fight potential, the team fight that
Thunder
Swagger
Blade.
rolling with this time.
Yeah, right now I think they will have to find some farm early for Reality. He does get his bottle up, so he's already having a pretty good time. 5 blast hits just from Crypt Storm alone, and even at level 1, I mean, 75 damage is still more than enough to get some CS here. Although Relic is leading the way in farm, and that's not that surprising because you have an IO helping him out as well. The IO picks up a very early bottle, which means that Relic is just going to sit back and allow him to regen up through the bottle usage coming up from the tether. So this should be a solid mid lane coming up from Turn My Swag on. Bottom lane, Bloody Nine's trying to contest. I mean, Justin should get some free farm, or I think that's Dark Doctor, I imagine. Top lane, I Annihilate should do decently, but MSS is up here with as well as Pandago coming out of the Earthshaker, so they can maybe try to find kills, even especially on F4L if it gets caught out of position.
Yeah, for now, though, he's doing the side pull to get those creeps back in their favor. It's always tricky to do the side pull, though, on the Dire side, because getting all the way to the other camp is a bit troublesome. MSS is really laying it in right to Annihilate, bringing a Centaur down to half. Now, with this pull, and if he doesn't do the pull through, which it looks like he's not, this makes their creep wave pretty big here, as the second one's already going to approach, and that could prevent them from getting a lot under the tower for now, and it will push the wave all the way back to the other side. So it'll be pressure on them to try to get the other camp of these Centaurs to kind of keep the creep wave in their favor. Meanwhile, bottom, they're going to keep trying to pressure Bloody 9. Was at 12 tangos, now at 7, constantly having to use the regen in situations like this. Does not sidestep the ice path, but still eats it. Not a lot of damage regardless. That liquid fire is going to keep his watermelon roasty toasty, though.
I gotta say, the pressure that they're putting on this mid lane is absolutely outstanding. They pop the overcharge early, they jump on top of Reality, and they bring him down to half health. He actually has to Bile Crow and get out of the lane because of the aggression that's coming through from Relic as well as Sleesel. He is stacking up the jungle camps as well, so he has got this nice stack coming in, so that's one way for him to get back in the game. But, I mean, if he goes down here, and if they give up first blood, especially over to Relic, that could be disastrous. He's already at 17 last hits. He's 5 ahead of that of Justin, who's getting free farm in this bottom lane.
And they're jumping again here on Reality, really pressuring him like you talked about. This time, they're going to have to actually force out a rotation here, and Relic overstays, goes behind, eats a Fisher, and goes down. And it's actually not called out as a first blood, it looks like, but regardless, Death Prophet ends up getting another. It's a 2. They take down both, the PA and Wisp. Sorry, I was just a bit perplexed there. It didn't call out first blood.
It doesn't do it when it's split like that, when the kill is split between heroes.
Yeah,
but it
yeah.
is first blood, so...
Yeah, so
that's huge. Annihilate gets a kill top lane on MSS as they leave him alone. He just stomps him and then uses his double edge. But the bigger thing is the fact that they just lost 2 heroes. They lost whatever advantage they had in that mid lane for Relic as well as Cecil. That was just a poor play. I understand you want to put pressure on Reality and stop him from getting level 6 or level 8 or level 9 or whatever, but that's not the way to do it, man. Like, just go for a kill when you know you can get the kill. Don't just sit back and... That was a bit questionable for me. So
the thing is also, when they want to play extra aggressive like that, Wisp isn't getting the time to go back to the jungle and build up stacks in the jungle for anyone, even if Relic wanted to take care of that later. So it's kind of the price you pay, and it makes it that much worse when you kind of get a bit over-aggressive and hand over both of those kills. So Gerg, very happy with that, as the Death Prophet was getting a bit bullied in that lane. Now gets to step back and work with the side neutral camp the same way you would see like a Shadow Fiend make it work. And top lane MSS did go down previously and is still trying to hold strong for now, but that allowed Centaur to kind of get that kill. Now with a Tranquils and Stout in hand and 500 gold, he's got a nice early start. And FRL is going to be right there to kind of build up his own bit of farm. And let's see if Pandago tries to bite the worm and go for some sort of stun, because Annihilite's waiting in the wing for something to happen. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Bloody 9 going behind the tower. And look at that bash. Catches Bloody 9 in his spot. He's going to get as much damage off as possible before he walks out from the tower.
Reality had a regen rune, and he was about to take the rest of that camp. And he popped the regen rune, except he popped it too early. One creep was still lingering, and actually it was a Dark Troll Summoner that hit him and canceled up the rest of his, whatever it's called, the regen rune. So that should have been in jungle camp. Now he has to wait a bit longer to take it. Not the biggest deal in the world, but like you talked about, this is like a Shadow Fiend getting back into the game. The problem with IO and a PA is that you don't have that burst damage and the aggressive nature like you would have with the Tiny, and that's the issue. I mean, I love PA as a hero, but you shouldn't be that aggressive early on, especially without coup de grace. So I would just pick up a double damage rune. Now they can be aggressive, and we'll see what they want to do with this. Relocate is not available. He's still far away from it. Bottom lane, Bloody 9 is very far up. He does have his arcanes. Justin's going to toe-to-toe. He does have the Chronos Tree, by the way, but Bloody 9 is very, very tanky, especially when he gets the Anchor Smash off on Justin. So
yeah, you don't want to be jumping in, especially after you eat an Anchor Smasher. So then you're like pretty much pulling out the Chrono and you're swinging around just like a pillow, as opposed to your normal big damage. So kind of have to wait for a good opportunity to open up. Maybe if you get a bit of harassment off early with the Liquid Fire, and can kind of bounce back with a big kill there. Certainly help. But just kind of echoing from what you're talking about, the Wisp PA combo definitely doesn't have the same early game potential as you would have your Wisp Tony with the quick burst damage, but she definitely strides more in the late game with that overcharge benefit. So that's something they're going to look to fall back on at some point once PA starts building up a little bit of early farm. Right now it seems like the early makings of power treads. Wouldn't be surprised if she considers pulling out a BKB at some point and then building on from there a bit of extra damage. Or we could also see, like we see from others, build up the early Battle Fury and then accelerate the farm from there on out.
Battle Fury seems to be a common choice for PAs right now. I don't know if it's the best this game. I think it's probably pretty good. They don't really need to clear waves or have to deal with like any sort of pushing potential. However, it does give you the extra damage and allows you to farm that much quicker. And with an IO as well, with overcharge, it makes it that much easier. He's got 43 last hits, so I mean, Relic, whatever he wants to buy, he'll buy. He's going for treads though, so that's the start at least.
Bottom lane, Bloody 9, 26 and 7 on an off-lane Tidehunter. Ain't too shabby if I say so myself. He hasn't been pressured too much. It's going to be a Stampede call on top lane. They're looking to make a go, it looks like, on MSS, but Pendego's right there with the fissure. Counter rotation coming in, however, as Sleesel, still attached to the Centaur, puts himself straight forward and ends up dying. They do end up taking MSS. Now, Chrono going to be used. Working here on the Centaur, gets locked down, can't get the double edge off, does there at the end, but regardless, will end up falling and ends up being a 2-for-1 trade to the benefit of the Gerg squad.
Yeah, it was really nice rotations coming in. They do at least get the kill on the Venomancer, but then you ask yourself at what cost, and I don't know if that's really the best trade because then you get the kill coming out. Justin getting involved. It's actually the Jakir that picks up most of those kills there. So he's in some good position. Justin goes back home. His treads are now finished up. We'll see if he goes for the Mask of Madness. More than likely he will. What is the PA building? His treads are now done. I'm surprised he picked those up because they have overcharge. I don't know if he really needed attack speed. He is tankier with treads, though, at least with strength treads. He should be a bit more difficult to bring down at the least. So maybe that's the right choice. He continues to farm. Meanwhile, what about this Death Prophet? Level 1 ultimate, a level 4 Witchcraft, and looking to get to that level 2 ultimate as quickly as possible. She's going to be going for drums, and then she'll be picking up Yules as well. So the real thing is, what does MSS bringing to the table on this offlane Venomancer? Level 5, still in level 6, boots of speed, trying to get to treads, but he's pretty far behind at this point.
It kind of reminds me of, I think it was a week or two ago when watching Stay Free in the first couple of games they played. Jigglebilly did play a Venomancer and played it very similar. It was just constantly being a pest on the side, and even if you put a lot of effort into moving and taking down a Venomancer, you're just taking out a Venomancer. It's nothing too devastating. But if you kind of ignore the Venomancer, he just slowly grows as the plague he is up the lane, can split push very nicely with the wards, and next thing you know, you're going to have to put someone over there. And before he goes, he'll throw out the Poison Nova, and then you kind of need to go back to base and heal on up. And that's a lot of time that the rest of your team can get a lot done, or maybe make an engagement elsewhere that Swag might have to second guess on being a part of. So, Venomancer just kind of trying to be the pest that he's known to be here for now. MSS, I guess, not too worried about trying to grab kills for himself, but instead looking to try to go for objectives.
Yeah, honestly, that's really the thing, is that MSS is not playing as one of the big cores here. He's not taking a lot of the farm. He's just actually making sure he's split pushing and making more room for the rest of his squad. So it's not that big of a deal if he's not kicking farm or if he's killing people. As long as Faceless Void's getting involved, as long as Reality is getting involved, and even Pandego, he'll look to become a core once he can get this Blink Dagger. He does have Arcanes now. But they're starting to group up, and they want to pressure mid. Justin picks up an Invis Rune. It looks like they might have vision of that. I think it was the bottom rune spot. Reality's coming in as well. They have their ultimate, and they should probably just try to take this tower. And I don't know if Swag wants to try to contest this. Sleazel, no relocate coming in, and Relic doesn't have that much to work with, so it's a big question.
FRL is nearby. This might be a risky fight, as Justin's going to just come in from the north, and he's going to see it right here. And here he goes. He's going to look to move on in. Can he help Reality? He can't. Gets a nice chrono off on both Relic and Sleazel. There's the laying foundation of a huge macro pyre, and they take out both of them just like that. Great coordination. Great trap sprung right there from the Gerg squad in the mid lane.
Yeah, that's just really smart play using the Invis Rune, and Pretty Boy Swag getting caught out. Just a bit of bad luck that they don't have any real detection. They didn't know that the regen ruined up Faceless Wood was in the trees there. They had nothing to... They thought they had all the information in that fight, and they really didn't. So it comes back to bite them. Great macro power from Crystal. That was before the Chronosphere was placed down. And that means that Turn My Swag On gets pretty obliterated in that fight. Relic does TP back in now, but this will help the Faceless Void secure his Mask Madness is now picked up. The Venomancer, all the meanwhile, pushes the bottom lane. The Tier 1 tower does fall, so they get the tower and the fight going their way for Gerg squad. And a pretty good start for them.
Absolutely. So they're getting a lot out of that. The biggest significant swing of the game thus far allows them to have a nice start. But Swag, they always have this Centaur who now grabs his blink, and they want to put it right to use. They blaze it up in the mid lane, and they're heading right for the south. They want something. Centaur's hungry. He's big. He's Brad. He's beautiful. and he wants some blood right now. But the question is he going to find the opportunity to open up? As he looks ahead, potentially the enemy jungle, he could see a Faceless Void who has no chrono. There's MSS. They quickly take down the Snake. And MSS is done, so they do make use of that first blink. They do commit quite a few for it. 4 heroes, a Stampede, but still a kill that was much necessary for Swag to get some momentum back.
Yeah, but I think if you're Gerg squad, you're not too frustrated by that kill. MSS playing the offlane Venomancer has had very little impact, and I mean that doesn't really do that much. I mean, you saw Justin; he was just standing in the jungle. He's like, "Well, I guess my friend's dead, but at least I'm not dying now, so I'm gonna go back to lane and get my Mask of Madness and just waddle-ee-da, continue to farm."
Yeah, absolutely. Just more of a pain. And you could take him down, but cut one head off, 2 will grow. Kind of the same style here for Venomancer, as now he's just put his attention towards top, where he's going to slowly critter himself and slither up to the top lane tower and try to make work there, while space is going to be created elsewhere for your likes of Faceless Void, who continues to farm up here on the bottom now. Bloody Knight is nearby, has yet to really make use of that big Ravage, as he still will continue to wait on out. He wants to get a hold of his own Blink Dagger first. He's really close, near 200 gold, and he'll have that going, so you're going to have a Blink on Centaur, a Blink on Tidehunter, your 2 big team fighters. And things could turn around real quick here for Swag in that. As they get locked down significantly, Relic is going to be the one right there with an overcharged Wisp to bring in the right clicks and the huge damage.
Server connection failed.
Oh,
The remote host closed the connection.
Radiant's bottom tower
Missing
is
action
under
here.
attack.
Top lane, you're going to see F4L get caught out. And now MSS eats the majority of a Mystic Flare, but it is F4L to be taken down. I Annihilate. Oh, Ravage is going to end up falling off. And there we go. He pulls it back. Big Echo Slam coming in from Pandago. They do end up taking down the Centaur. And now, on the back end of an Exorcism, Bloody Nine will go down with that right click right there. Huge fight again for the Gerg squad as they lose no one, but take down 3 there. Relic does have a DD and a Wisp is nearby, but they cannot get in on this. And now it looks like Gerg squad are just going to segue themselves towards this top tier 1 tower with this Exorcism and secure another objective.
That's a really great
top
stomp, but a
tower
really
is
good
under
Ravage,
attack.
and somehow they don't win the fight on the back end of that. There's no follow-up
Radiant's
coming in
middle
from Turn My
tower is
Swag
under
on,
attack.
so now they're getting behind, and this is not a team you don't want to get behind to. I mean, as good as well as the PA is farming,
Dire's
you know, the
top
Faceless
tower
Void's
has
still going to be an
fallen.
effective. See, look at this. He just goes right to Relic here, and Relic might be in some trouble. He's in some trouble. He's going to get fissured up, and the overcharge is going to go.
Oh!
They do relocate him out. Nice play coming in. And they actually Phantom Striked away as well, which was kind of funny. But
He is still going to be there, and the Fissure will be ready at a moment's notice, but do they have enough lockdown to stop Sleesel from getting away? Can he tether out? Centaur's right there, helps out with a nice hoof stomp on 2. Mystic Flare follow-up from F4L. Gets it done. They end up losing the Wisp, but for taking down the Earthshaker and, of course, the Faceless Void. Very nice stuff right there from Swag.
we talked about it in the draft, man. It's the relocates and how useful they're going to be. MSS getting caught out. Great Yule Scepter, KRS, Ice Path. There's the Magpire, the Silence as well. In some trouble, Prep Storm comes through. They're blowing up by Annihilate.
Barbecue
He falls.
Brad.
Meanwhile, they're going to have to back away.
That Yules on Jakiro is so good. It wasn't even his Yules, but just putting one to use from the Death Prophet sets up such an easy laydown of an Ice Path, Macropyre, slow down Centaur with the Liquid Fire, and Jakiro is just having a field day. And you just see that big beefcake just get burnt all the way down to nothing. Unbelievable. Gerg squad, man, they're looking pretty good. This is the best I've seen them play in quite a while, in the early game specifically.
Yeah, they don't have a hard carry. I mean, they don't have like a Naga Siren that requires, you know, a different
Dire's middle tower is
approach
under
where you have
attack.
to just stay back and farm.
Dire's
Instead, they're pushing
middle
down
tower
towers, and that's
has
how they're
fallen.
getting team fights. They're getting great Chronospheres. The only thing that's really been a problem for them has been the relocate. And if they can lock down the IO before they get the relocate off, then all of a sudden this game is really looking like it's in
middle
Gerg
tower
Squad's
is
favor.
under attack.
They're going to pop the Exorcism, which by the way is level 2. They're going to go to town on this tier 2 tower in the mid lane. And with Liquid Fire, they're going to melt this down pretty quickly.
It looks like they're just going to go for a trade. It looks like Swag are busy pushing down the bottom. And even though Wisp is
Radiant's
nearby for a
bottom
possible
tower is under
relocate, I
attack.
imagine they're just going to go tier 1 for
Dire's
tier 1 here.
middle
Liquid
tower
Fire and
is under
Exorcism
attack.
is just such huge as far as push that they'll get it down
Dire's
so
structures
quick
are fortified.
that
Radiant's
they'll be
bottom
done
tower
first,
is
but
under
it's
attack.
not enough to go for,
Dire's middle
I was going to say,
tower
maybe a
is under
contention
attack.
bottom.
Dire's middle
And it
tower
looks like they
is
might.
fallen.
Reality shows up, gets off a nice Yules. There's your Chrono. They're both stuck in it. Justin's trying to finish off one, but that Blur is already putting in some serious work. Return back Bloody Nine Ravage is enough to help take down that Faceless Void. And with Stampede, it looks like they might make a go in again. He catches 2, burst down 1, burst down 2. That's already 3 hitting the deck. Pandego gets one last Echo Slam to take down the Tide, and now MSS follows up with his Poison Nova, but at the end of it, it's 5 that go down, and Swag come up huge in this team fight on the bottom.
So the Wisp was relocating. They knew that it was going to happen. They stopped focusing Relic. They try to focus the Tide instead. They can't. The Ravage comes up, then the Stomp. The follow-up from Turn My Swag on is fantastic. Gerg squad comes in. They don't have Exorcism. They all get blown up. They pop the Echo Slam, does nothing. Then MSS decides to TP in and say, hey, I got my R button. We're going to kill some people. But by that time, everyone else is dead. So he dies. And then in the end, they lose 5 heroes, which gives so much away to Turn My Swag on. We talked about how good Gerg squad looked. That's probably the worst choice they could have made in the entire game. That gets Pretty Boy Swag, or Turn My Swag on, rather,
Radiant's top
to get
tower
the
is
PA
under
with her
attack.
Battle Fury. They get now a couple more items. An urn picked up for the IO, and that gets them closer. In fact, there is a Blink Dagger for Bloody Nine. He's had it. He's going for what seems to be a mech, or at least a buckler next. They've got all these items now, and all of a sudden that becomes that much more difficult for Gerg squad to try to close this game out, which they wanted to do early. They wanted to fight early. That's why they took all those towers. So
It's definitely on Gerg squad to try to get this game done sooner than later. Their late game potential, it doesn't seem like it will match up that nicely to Swag, where PA could end up. Hell, a refresher Bloody Nine could be a big issue at some point, you know, after he gets a hold of what looks like his mechanism, but there's a lot of big impact there. And a simple BKB and maybe a pipe on their team would kind of really bring down anything that the Venomancer could dish out, Jakiro could dish out, and even the Echo Slam and Fissure combo coming out from Pandego. So for now, it's their opportunity to really take these fights and bring it home. Bottom lane doesn't work to their liking, and now they're going to look for what the next step's going to be. They're scouting out the Roche, which obviously is up, the first Roche of the game, but no team looking to go in there just yet. It's Swag who are just going to benefit from the space and continue farming on out, as Relic and Sleece will continue to stay side by side.
I gotta say, I know that
Radiant's
he's making the
bottom
right
tower
choice. This
is
pipe
under
is almost
attack.
done. Pipe's
Radiant's
gonna be huge
bottom
this game.
tower
Yeah,
has
there's the
fallen.
Blink Dagger coming up from Pandego. On top of that, Poison Nova, Macropyre, Ice Path, Crypt Swarm, everything really that they've got. I mean, they've got to try to find a way to reduce that magical damage coming through. They smoke up. I Annihilate's going to find MSS. He's going to stomp in, and they're going to Ice Path. They're relocating it as well. The Ice Path does a lot of work. MSS ults as well. He will fall. Relic jumping on him. There's the Ravage coming in. Justin was looking for Time Walk and getting a Chronosphere off. He takes a lot of damage. He pops up his mask at the wrong time. Fissure, Bloody Nine, in some trouble, and he will die to Pandego. It looks like, no, the Crypt Swarm. The relocate, getting everyone out of a bad position. That could have gone a lot worse for Gerg squad, but great ultimate coming out from MSS to at least do some work there.
Yeah, that was the secondary Ravage follow-up was a bit questionable in my eyes. I mean, I don't know if that was just to zone everyone back from making a move in, but it looked like Ty was just ready to party, and Swag's like, no, we got what we wanted. We're going to just go. We're done. And he was just kind of caught behind, ended up falling. I mean, luckily Ty takes a lot of effort to bring down, and it only ends up being a one-for-one trade. But I think they could have got the one hit and run and left and saved the Ravage for maybe like now, like when they're now looking to go for Roche. It would have been a big tool to utilize to maybe contest this Roche, but Reality's going to put his own ultimate, the Exorcism, to use, bringing down the big bad boy, and he's going to fall rather quickly. And well, with F4L nearby, but no real ward digging out vision, they don't have a proper identity as far as what actually is happening. Now, drops a Mystic Flare into the pit. I know it's happening, but it's not going to really do any damage as it doesn't catch quite any heroes. And Faceless Void is going to be the one to pick up that Aegis, and Gerg squad walk away with a small victory there.
And he threw the Mystic Flare and Roshan. He's like, guys, I did it. We did it. But no, I mean, that doesn't really work that way. And unfortunately, they give away a free Roche. You talked about the Ravage, and I agree 100%. They did not need to use it there. With Ravage, they can contest that fight. Although with Exorcism up, it's a bit trickier. But there were ways for them to stop that from happening. So they give away a free Roshan. And I mean, the net worth chart is pretty even at this point, but I feel like Gerg squad are in a really good position.
Radiant's top tower
As long
is
as they
under
don't
attack.
take a bad fight into relocate into Ravage into a Centaur Stomp, then they're in a position where Gerg squad, they can dictate the pace of this game. But they have to fight around Exorcism, and that's where Turn My Swag on. They're going to need to try to find fights. It's on the back end of when Exorcism is down.
Yeah, they need
and
to find
Chronosphere
fights and
as
make it
well.
happen. Take objectives, use the Exorcism, because the longer they wait, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Swag have a pretty solid game plan, I'd have to say, in my opinion. Relic's about to have this BKB, which is going to be big in these team fights. And with Sleesel by his side, if they're not doing a good job making sure they take down the Wisp first and foremost, things could get hairy. Speaking of getting hairy, F4L gets poisoned up right now. He will have to head back to base, and we'll just probably hear up in the fountain for now. But regardless, I don't know. It's going to be real tricky. It comes down to big team fights. If a big chrono comes out, they catch the big team fight players and take them out of the mix right away. Then they can follow up by taking down the PA, because catching out just a PA and chrono doesn't secure anything with that blur.
Yeah, this is going to be very important. The chronospheres for Justin are going to
Radiant's
have to be on
bottom
point,
tower
and
is under attack.
if they can catch the IO and the PA and the chronosphere, they've pretty much won the fight, I think, at that point. I really just think that's going to be huge. The IO has been so well positioned, though. Sleesel's just been doing his job miraculously well, I'd say. And they're going to try to push down mid. I like the aggressive Floyd call coming in from Turn My Swag on, and we'll see what they can get done here. The tower is very low. Reality's going to try to clip from them back. Reality decides to back away for a moment here. Throws up
There you go. Relic might be in trouble. They might be forced to relocate safe. Jump in Echo. He can't get his BKB off. He pops it there and he goes down immediately. And the relocate also isn't going to be there to help out. He uses it anyways. Now he's going to come back into, well, a real shitstorm at this point. They ping it out. They see that he's going to be coming back momentarily. Meanwhile, they're chasing up and above. They want to get FRL as well, and they do. So they take down FRL, and now they're going to take down Sleesel. Huge team fight there for Gerg squad. It all starts with Pandego zoning out the PA with a good fissure, and unfortunately they just wait a little too long before an immediate relocate save. I mean, I imagine things get a bit tricky as far as timing out a BKB plus a tether, but still, they have enough focus fire and burst to take down PA before she can get away.
As soon as that Fisher comes out, I think they should relocate. There's no reason to stay that unsafe and lose a hero like that.
Even if it's back like a few feet.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's totally worth it at that point. That would have been a safe play, but I think they wait too long, like you mentioned, and they lose 3 heroes because of it. And all of a sudden, luckily there isn't any exorcism, so they can't really push that hard. They will get chip damage in the tier 3 tower, but they're giving away fights that they shouldn't give away. And Chronosphere is still up. Justin, last time he picked up an Invis, we saw what he could get done with it. He has it again. This time he has a Maelstrom as well. His damage is real. I don't know if they're going to go with anything for this fight, but I'm afraid for Turn My Swag on. They are not really firing on all cylinders. For Gerg squad, despite having one really bad fight bottom, they've played really well the rest of this game.
Yeah, they can't have anything like that happen again. I mean, given that fight, it was them getting caught out, quickly taken advantage of. It's not like it was an opportunity for your Tidehunter to jump on in and get something done with the Ravage, and even Centaur really couldn't contribute a whole lot. He now has this Stampede. Ravage is up and available, but they are going to need a big team fight to turn it around. They can't allow Gerg squad to get to that pinnacle point where they bring in a lot of farm. I mean, Faceless Void getting closer and closer to a BKB renders your F4L Skywrath Mage pretty much useless for the full duration. But here we go, another setup fissure. They're looking to go on through, and he's not going to follow it up with the Chrono on this time. Bladeon would have been right there with the Ravage. Same with Centaur. They rotate in damn near quick, just in case something was to happen, and it's not. So Gerg squad maybe seeing the rotations pull back and put attention elsewhere, where it looks like Swagger not going to be able to quickly run to and aid.
Justin realizes that if he gets his Chronosphere off, and like you talked about, Ravage might come afterwards. And so what he's building towards next is that BKB. And then when he gets a Chronosphere off, if he catches the PA and the IO, there is nothing stopping them from winning that fight. Ravage won't be useful. Stampede, Mystic Flare, all of that not going to matter for Justin. His Aegis is now reclaimed. He's getting close to his Mithril Hammer. The BKB is not too far off. With that item, I think they probably go for broke and maybe try to take the high ground. Because like you mentioned, they don't want this PA getting too farmed. They don't want this becoming an all-out war between these cores. And they've got to find a way to try to end this game pretty soon. There still are 2 tier 2 towers left for Turn My Swag on. If they lose those towers, then it becomes very tricky. Then their 2 3s are open to being pushed into, but they are going to smoke up, and they're going to try to find Justin in the top lane, but he's pretty far back as it stands.
Middle tower has been denied.
Meanwhile, your middle tower is going to be denied and taken away from MSS. So gold removed from the map there from Swag, because their attention right now is on top. And obviously Gerg squad have to know there's a lot of people missing from this map. What the hell's happening? It's a Centaur now showing himself here at the top, but Gerg squad are not getting careless with their side lane farm for now, and it looks like Swag are just going to have to pull back. So they end up moving as a group, and they don't get anything out of it. And I have to say, man, Ham Clubhouse Gerg squad, they're playing pretty much on par at this point. Now they're creeping on in the top lane. They have their own smoke out. If they maybe move up quick enough and scavenge through the opponent's jungle, they could latch onto someone.
Yeah, they were waiting for Emesis to push up a little bit.
Oh,
now
it might
they're
be
gonna
FRL.
prepare to go. Yeah, they're going to find this poor scout.
My
That's not the
casting
best
friend,
target.
no! Yeah, he's gone for. How's it going there, Birdman? Taking down Reality, gets the kill, moves on to a dominating streak, and, well, now we'll see if they want to push on forward here. Your Exorcism, still level 2, as she needs just a little more XP to get that level 16. Maybe they consider pushing in on this top tower, but it looks like Swag pushing real hard in the mid lane. Obviously, it's Relic with Sleesel, so if something goes down, they can always relocate. But they would love to go for a trade if possible.
Radiant's middle tower is under
Yeah,
attack.
the thing is, Gerg's can push a bit faster. However, they are at the base already. They want to trade their Izzaglyph available for both squads, so I mentioned both of them should be popped here. Overcharge is going to go. Relic is pushing surprisingly fast. There is no glyph coming out. They realize they're going to try to go to the tier 3 tower. They're going to TP one hero back. That'll be Pandago. He wants to stop any sort of TP away. He's going to jump in. Echo Sled comes in. The Fisher. Sleezel's about to get blown up. Going to try to relocate out. Cannot do so. Relic pops the BKB, but he's done. The Exorcism. Reality with a double kill. They fake like they're going for the tier 3 tower, but Pandago comes in and drops the hammer. Boom goes the dynamite, he says, as he blows up 2 heroes. My God. What a
Great
play.
slam. Great sacrifice from Pandago to lock them there and allow the rest of the team to show up and get it done. Now MSS creeps forward, throws out the poison. Bloody Nine, though, promptly pulls out his TP and makes his way out, but still no tower to fall in exchange for that that big push top lane from Gerg squad. Tier 2 here in the mid lane, still standing with a little bit of life. Tier 2 on the bottom, same story, and things continue to work pretty nicely here for Gerg squad. Well, this is their window of time to really get the job done before it gets too hairy in the late game. They're finding a lot of opportunities to make it happen, and for a team that was expecting to have much bigger team fight potential with your Tidehunter and your Centaur, it's just not in synergy. Not quite yet, at least. And the relocates, the faulty plays, the pickoffs, the getting caught out time after time, mid lane with the PA Wisp falling, and then F4L gets caught out top, and now this mid lane again. It's not making things any easier, and Gerg squad pull ahead 20-12 as far as kills and near 5K as far as net worth.
It feels like Gerg squad are just one step ahead of Termite Swagan, but speaking of that, well.
Oh, they see him with that ward. And look who it is to block their way. Pandago, man, playing a nice Earthshaker this game. And now they're going to isolate Centaur. They get the Yule's Macrofire, Ice Path. We might have more barbecue on the menu, boys, but no, Force Staff does get him to the low ground. Turn back Stampede. Pandago does end up falling. Liquid Fire flies out, but not before Jakiro falls. And just as I was giving him props, it looks like Gerg squad lose 2. Skywrath in exchange only. There's your Ravage. Catches out there on Justin. They relocate and pull back to the top lane, it looks like, for PA and company, but that leaves I Annihilate all alone. Force Staff to the high ground. TP. Crypt Swarm comes in, takes him out before he can make his escape. And in the end, it will be Gerg squad coming out on top, benefiting from a 3-man takedown.
And yeah, Justin whiffed he whiffed that Chronosphere there. Reality, I think, actually used the Yule Scepter. And that actually helped out Bloody Nine, and then the Chronosphere pretty much hit on nobody. And they did pick off F4 quickly. It's really lucky that they actually kept the PA tethered. Sleazel should have let go, I think, of Relic, and they probably would have been able to clean up that fight, but they decided to go back top, and actually they ended up trading pretty evenly. Meanwhile, BKBs, they're going to fight in the pit. Exorcism going. They jump right on top of the void. Bloody Nine getting low. There's the Shivas coming in. Now Relic taking some damage here. He's actually BKB'd, not taking much, but now the Exorcism coming through. He's going to have to just Phantom Strike wave. Fisher coming in. Relic in some trouble here. There's the Enchant Totem. The Silence. Relicate getting caught out. Yule Scepter as well on top. Mystic Flare doing nothing. Macropyre off the mark, but Sleesel, he's about to fall, and Gerg squad take yet another engagement. And this should mean that they'll take Roshan even without Exorcism. It's pretty low at this point, so yeah, they should take it down.
I mean, it looked like Swag felt like they had to contest this or their game was over at that point. I mean, making the call to jump in without a Ravage ready to go into an Exorcism, I mean, that's questionable. And now they lose that engagement. They lose the opportunity to take any sort of fight with Roche, and Aegis is going to be promptly picked up there and put into the pocket of Death Prophet. And Gerg squad, it just continues to get better and better form as it is. And unfortunately for Swag, it looked like there could have been an opportunity for them to make an escape, but Wisp had a few more seconds on relocate just as PA went down. And it just continues to get harder and harder right now. I mean, there was a lot of money invested on this PA saved up. Still is holding 3.4K, but with only a Battle Fury, it's just not enough at this point. She needs to make the right call as far as itemization to try to pull this one back.
I think maybe a Satanic. That's the next something you would see generally for PA in terms of itemization, and should keep her alive in these fights. She's just getting caught out and dying, even with the BKB. The exorcism is tearing her apart. So if it's not one thing, it's another. If it's not the exorcism, it's a Fissure or an Echo Slam, you know, a Chronosphere. They have so much to try to deal with here. It's really rough, and she is going to pick up a Reaper. So the PA, I mean, that might help, but I think, you know, Gerg Squad are going to try to end this pretty soon. BKB's up for Justin. The Death Prophet has the Aegis. Exorcism is up in 8 seconds. She's got 3.6k gold in the bank for whatever item she wants. She might just save up for buyback altogether. And they're going to try to go, I think, here in the top lane.
And Swag really need to contest. I mean, the pushing power is just too good. Liquid Fire, Death Prophet's Exorcism. I mean, if you're trying to go for trades, it's a trade you're going to lose. She's pushing forward now. Level 3 Exorcism. You saw what it could do there in the Roche pit. And they're going to look to make it happen here again. Also level 3 Chrono. Ready to happen. The right click is strong with his Faceless Void. Now that he has his Maelstrom. And still a fresh and shiny new 10-second BKB to work with. But Stampede forward quickly to get Yules up. And that Mystic Flare is not going to be able to get anything done. FRL already in big trouble. They're forced to pull out the pipe. And that is a finicky first engagement on the side of Swag. They already expend 2 ultimates to get nothing out of it. No real damage whatsoever. Now your Exorcism coming out in full force with Liquid Fire. Quickly takes down this tier 3 tower to just about a 1/6 of a life left. And they'll be able to finish with ease. Bottom lane, however, they are in the base also going for a tier 3 here. Relic and Wisp side by side, but going for an engagement now, jumping on through. Their Ravage was used. Death Prophet's first life does go down. Yule's up here on Jakiro. Ice Path flies, does not catch on anyone. Relic now shows up. Big slash right there on Jakiro, takes him down. BKB, though, only for a little bit longer as Justin gets a nice chrono. Now he's under the gun. Big pressure, but it is going to be the deep PA to fall. Quick buyback, though, to get back into this one because this is dire straits right now for Swag to defend before they lose this rack split. It's all reality all day. Cleaning house with this Death Prophet. Now with Exorcism, still getting it done. This is going to be a dieback for Relic. Jump in, right click, see you later. And that's enough for a good game call from Bloody Nine. Swag, unfortunately, just couldn't find the way to come back. Too many pickoffs, too many great starts right now from Gerg Squad, and with a big push, they finish it. Just like that.
God, they look so good. Gerg Squad looked on point that game. Their team fight was outstanding. I got to give props to not only Pandega, but the rest of their squad for hitting all of their ultimates really when they needed to. The Yule Scepters, the Ice Paths. Some of the Chronospheres were a bit off from the Faces Void, but that's expected. And I got to say, they played that exactly the way they needed to. Maybe even a bit of an outdraft coming up from Gerg Squad. You look at Turn My Swag on, it almost looks like they beat themselves with just how they were playing. It felt like maybe they messed up in terms of their initiations a lot of the time. The Tide Ravage wasn't on point. Centaur had some good stomps, but the PA relocates weren't really there. And it didn't go well for Turn My Swag on. Gerg Squad, they earned the victory, and a good one at that. Big victory coming out from them on the Radiant Squad.
Yeah, for a team that's had a tremendous amount of roster switch-arounds, that's probably one of the best we've seen them look. They look damn good, whether it be even just throwing together a better draft or just outperforming. Regardless, this is a good start for them to kind of crawl themselves back towards the top here. This puts them now at a 2-1 record here in the Summit 2 America. And for Turn My Swag on this will put them now at 2-2. So right there in the middle. Still a lot of games to come here in the Summit 2 by G2A.com America. We have more to follow. I believe tomorrow we'll have a lot more America action coming your way. But it's always been a pleasure. If you like what you heard, you can catch me over on my Twitter at CoddleGuy. This very handsome gentleman right here is Mott. And Mott, you look really great, by the way. You must have been hitting the gym. Catch him over on his Twitter at MottDota. Thank you again, my friend. Any last shout-outs before we kind of let you and everyone else go?
Shout out to you, obviously, for having me. Shout out to all the American squads for providing some great Dota. Shout out to Gerg for making Gerg Squad a thing. And shout out to... Nope, that's it. All right, I'm done. We're good.
All right. Fantastic stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they went with the Gerg Squad. They actually asked us what name they wanted to roll with today. We said, just do Gerg. They did it. Maybe they'll keep with it now that they had a performance like that. So we'll see. Once again, thank you so much for coming by and hanging out. We'll kind of throw things out. Rebroadcast should be coming up in a moment's notice. VODs, of course, catch them over on YouTube on the Beyond the Summit channel. As always, thank you. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day, please.